Hi.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Tom Morgan, Microsoft MVP. I'm at Southwest Summit, and I'm with the fantastic Dona Sarkar.
Hello, everyone. Not fantastic, but I am here.
Really fantastic. So, I mean, you've done lots and lots of things.
Yes.
So you've come from the Windows Insider program. You've done, Dev Manager for advocacy, Power Platform, and now you are Director of Technology.
Oh gosh.
For Microsoft Accessibility. But you're here, you're at the Power Platform Hack.
Yes.
So, in my mind, you go to Director of IT, you go to the top floor, and you kind of check out of all the technical stuff. But you're here at Hackathon? So.
Oh, no. I think for me, at heart, I'm a dev, right? And I have to see what other devs are doing and micromanage a needle. Also, accessibility is a topic that impacts every single product. Not just at Microsoft, but actually in the world. Because you actually have no idea people from all different backgrounds using your tech, what else they need, right? So it really helps me to watch people building products and services and concepts and figuring out okay, what would it mean to have someone who's deaf use this? What would it mean to have someone who is blind use this? Or someone dyslexic like me. So accessibility touches all of us, and I am here to do many things, but to focus on how accessibility should be mainstream. It should be a topic we all concern ourselves with, because it actually concerns all of us.
And we see some of that in Microsoft, we see some of that come in the products.
Yes.
But, I mean, within Microsoft, but also, I guess, outside of Microsoft, for developers, do we have a long way to go? Do we have a little way to go?
So
what's your sense for
we've made a lot of progress, right?
Yeah.
We've made a ton of progress, but the journey it's not you're going to reach a point and you're done. We learn more every day. And two of the topics I'm here to talk a lot about are neurodiversity and mental health. So these are two things that people in my generation were not diagnosed with until much later in life, because we didn't talk about it. Now people with ADHD, people with dyslexia are getting diagnosed in their 30s and 40s because we just know to test for them. And often it's because their kids got diagnosed and the neurologists are like, let's test your parents. And it turns out, parents, you weren't bad at school. You just happen to be dyslexic. So I learned I was dyslexic when I was 31 years old. That is not normal, right? And the other topic is mental health, and I will talk a lot about this tomorrow at the keynote, but there is none of us in this entire building, probably in this entire city, this entire country, that have not been touched by mental health in the last 18 months. Every single last person has had a sense of anxiety, a sense of depression, or someone in our house has. And these are all accessibility topics. And it's something that we in the tech industry should be just conscious of when we build products.
Are there things is there a checklist for developers to go, to be thinking about? Because I think there's a lot of, if you go and ask a developer, there's a lot of, of course,
right.
But actually it's not in their head,
No.
it's not front of mind when they're building stuff.
I'm really glad you asked that, because I realized I didn't learn about accessibility when I was studying computer science at all. I didn't learn about accessibility my first 10 years of being a developer, right? I only learned 10 years into career, which is weird. But some basic things that developers can do: run accessibility insights. It's accessibilityinsights.io on any website you build, because it'll give you all of the top issues. It's a free tool. It's open source with Microsoft and a bunch of other partners. That's a basic thing. They also have a checker for Android apps. So if you're building an Android app or a website, go check. Second thing is just put a way to have alt text on images, right? There's many ways to do it, but image description and alt text are really, really important. And the third, put captions on your videos. If you're making videos or making a video platform, make adding captions easy. It's really good for folks who are deaf, folks who speak another language, and for SEO. No one thinks about SEO, but putting captions on video actually make your videos maybe 100,000 times more % discoverable. I did all these tests myself because I'm a dev and I don't believe anything. So it's actually true. When you're more accessible, you actually have more impact with everybody.
That's really cool. That's really, I never thought about that either.
Right.
I'm a developer,
Right.
I also do these videos.
Yes.
I never even thought about that. Of course, having a caption file makes it easy for a bot to read it.
That's right. It just makes it easier. So have transcript file, have a caption file.
Got it.
Because really, your SEO will go up.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And you've been very open about your dyslexia.
Right.
For young people, for people wanting to come into this industry, what would you say to them? I mean, you're an example of it being
Yeah.
done. I mean, what was that journey like? What's it now compared to?
I'll tell you, I actually think computer science and technology is a wonderful industry for those with dyslexia, because the compiler will tell you when you're wrong. Right? It's one of the reasons I am a writer, I'm an author, and all these things, and I struggle with it. I struggle much more with the arts than I do with computer science. And being dyslexic, you actually gain a bunch of really interesting superpowers. Like, you're weirdly good at 3D visualization. You're really good at understanding spatial things. So I was telling them, one of my favorite products on Microsoft that I worked on was the HoloLens, mixed reality. And I was really, really good at it. People are like, how are you naturally kind of good at 3D visualization and all this? I don't know, it's mystery, so odd. Now I realize, because this girl's dyslexic. So if you are dyslexic, join tech. There's a lot of us here, a lot. I bet if I go in that room and say how many of you are dyslexic, you're gonna have like, I don't know, a third of people raise their hand. It's a very good industry. It's an industry where we can openly talk about it because we're building tech solutions to help, right? So I think it's a wonderful field.
Wow, cool.
Better than trying to be a dyslexic lawyer. That's
It's true. Yeah.
learn, memorize,
Yeah.
or a doctor. Like, you can do it, but I can see them as being infinitely harder than being in tech.
Yeah. If the technology was just not an object, and you could make anything possible,
Yes.
what would you do?
I think what I would do is figure out how accessibility can be part of the system, where I write a line of code. How can I make sure that that line of code is accessible toward people who are blind, people who are deaf, people with limited mobility, but also those with mental health concerns, right? How do I make sure we're doing no harm as we build the next generation of products? That's what I would do. Wave my magic wand.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
And final question,
Yes.
because I was showing your resume to one of my colleagues, and I was kind of like, what should I ask Donna and stuff like that. She read it through, the stuff you've been doing at Microsoft, your fashion company, your side hustles.
Yeah.
Question was, do you sleep?
I do. I'm a really good sleeper. I think the key is to draw some really hard boundaries around your day and say, like, I am going to work on this from this hour to that hour, this from this hour to that hour, and then I'm going to bed. I only do 2 things a day, and one of those things is mental health. So day job, mental health stuff, fashion design, mental health stuff. But that is the way to be in the game for a long time. Because I plan to stick around this industry for 100 years. It's a lot of trouble to cause, right?
Sounds good.
So yeah, that's the plan.
Fantastic.
Thank
Donna,
you.
thanks very much. Enjoy
Yes.
South Coast Summit.
Thank you.